In a distant future, I achieved humanity's age-old dream, immortality. However, this dream brought unforeseen consequences. Over time, the entire world gradually fell into nothingness, with all life and matter disappearing completely, leaving me as the sole survivor. At first, I felt an overwhelming sense of confusion and despair. I wandered in an endless void, with no direction and no concept of time. I tried to find traces of other life, but to no avail. The infinite solitude and silence nearly drove me to the brink of collapse, and I began to question my own existence. I drifted in this void, gradually losing my sense of time. However, during this long period of solitude, my mind began to change. I realized that although everything external had disappeared, my thoughts and imagination still existed. So, I decided to try a simple goal: to imagine an apple. At first, I closed my eyes and recalled the apples I had seen in the past. The bright red skin, slightly glossy, the slightly sweet and sour scent that seemed to linger in my nostrils, and the crisp sound and texture when biting into it, all vividly came to mind. I focused my mind and tried to recreate all of this in my thoughts. I began trying to see an apple in the void. At first, I imagined a small red dot that slowly grew larger in my mind, gradually forming the rough outline of an apple. However, this outline always remained blurry, like a smoky image that would dissipate with the slightest distraction. I didn't give up. I kept trying, repeatedly recreating the image of the apple in my mind. After each failure, I reflected on my methods and tried different ways of thinking and angles. I started to focus more on details, from the color of the apple to the texture of the skin, from the shape of the apple to the reflection of light on its surface. Gradually, the image of the apple in my mind became clearer and clearer. Finally, after countless attempts, I succeeded in seeing a clear apple in the void. Its bright red skin, slightly glossy, seemed within reach. I felt a surge of excitement, but I knew that merely seeing it was not enough. I had to make the apple even more real. So, I concentrated my efforts, trying to make the apple not just an image, but a tangible object. I imagined reaching out to touch the apple, feeling its smooth skin and slight coolness. At first, my fingers passed through the image, but I did not give up. I continued to focus, imagining the texture of the apple. Slowly, I began to feel a subtle sensation, as if the apple was becoming more real. I felt my fingers glide over the skin, smooth yet slightly rough. I tried gently squeezing it, feeling the firmness and elasticity of the apple. At this moment, the joy in my heart was indescribable. I knew I had taken a crucial step. Next, I decided to try to smell the apple. I took a deep breath, recalling the scent of apples, and then amplifying this sensation in my mind. Sure enough, I seemed to smell that faint fruit aroma, which strengthened my confidence even more. The final step, and the most critical one, was to eat the apple. I carefully brought the apple to my mouth, imagining the sensation of taking a bite. I tried to recall the crisp sound and the sweet and sour taste, focusing all my attention on experiencing this moment. The moment I bit into the apple, I felt an unprecedented sense of reality. The crisp sound seemed to echo in my ears, the juice splashed in my mouth, and the sweet and sour taste exploded on my tongue. I couldn't believe it was so real. I had truly eaten an apple. At that moment, I understood the power of my thoughts and imagination. I wasn't just creating an apple in the void. I had made it real through my imagination. I felt an unparalleled sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. I sat in the void, savoring the taste of the apple, as if I had returned to the real world of the past. I knew I had taken an important step. From then on, I could use my imagination to create more things, even an entirely new world. In this endless void, I found my strength and hope. My creations gradually became more complex and refined. From simple plants to small animals, to a vibrant forest, I seemed to be rebuilding a new world. This world was entirely controlled by my thoughts and imagination. Whenever I closed my eyes, the scenes I imagined appeared before me as if they were real. As my creations became more intricate, I found that these imagined things started to interact with me. The birds I created sang on the branches, streams flowed, and I could even feel the cool breeze on my face. This interaction made me feel incredibly real, as if I had truly returned to a world full of life. I gradually realized that I wasn't just creating things, I was creating a new reality. This world was entirely under my control, and I became the creator of this new world. I could change everything at will, making flowers bloom instantly and mountains rise from the ground. This power brought me immense satisfaction, but it also made me think about deeper questions. Could I create truly conscious life? Could I give these imagined beings independent thoughts and emotions? With these questions in mind, I began to try creating more complex beings. I spent a lot of time and effort and finally created a human-like being. Initially, this being was just a simple mental image, but as I continued to perfect and adjust it, this human gradually showed autonomous actions and reactions. I named this new life Ming. I taught Ming to speak, to understand the surrounding environment, and interacted with him in various ways. Ming displayed astonishing learning ability and independent thinking, even raising questions I had never thought of. I felt an immense sense of shock and comfort, realizing that I had truly created a being with self-awareness. As time went on, my creative power grew stronger, and my mental world became richer and more complex. I created an entire society with various people and creatures, each with independent thoughts and emotions. Under my guidance, this world continued to develop, showing endless possibilities. I began to enjoy this endless process of creation. Each act of creation was a challenge to my wisdom and imagination. I continuously improved and enriched this world, making it more beautiful and fulfilling. I interacted with the lives I had created, sharing in their joys and sorrows, experiencing their growth and changes. My mental world became vast and profound, and my creative power and imagination reached unprecedented heights. In this process, I was not merely an observer, but an active participant and guide. With my wisdom and power, I led this world to continue evolving, moving towards infinite possibilities. In this boundless void, I found my purpose and mission. I was not just an immortal being, I was a true creator. Under my guidance, this mental world shone with endless brilliance and hope, becoming my new home and paradise. Despite all this, one question still haunts me. Can I die or not?